Okay, so at ITM Power, we're interested in manufacturing hydrogen energy systems for energy storage and clean fuel production. I'm going to talk to you about a case for a hydrogen fuel, talk about some major hydrogen projects that are going on in the UK, say something about the drivers for hydrogen adoption, and then finish by telling you about the ride and drive that you can enjoy today. So I'm delighted that every other speaker has mentioned this point. So I'm just going to start by saying that the world has a very significant problem, and that problem is decarbonising energy. And energy is the largest market in the world. And actually, viewed dialectically, this is a huge opportunity for the UK, with one of the largest capital spends going on in history. So I think one of the messages from today is let's grab that opportunity. The missing link is energy storage. Actually, if you want to decarbonise electricity, if you want to electrify transport and heat, and have a joined-up energy system, you need energy storage. And actually, energy storage is a real challenge. It's very difficult to store electricity. Actually, it's very easy to store hydrogen, and you can make it with a 70% energy efficiency. And once you have hydrogen and it's stored, then you can use it for heat, for power, for fuel, and for chemicals. It's a very versatile way of storing energy. The solution then is to use equipment like this. We package electrolyzers so that they can be demand-side managed. That means power companies turn them off to balance supply and demand. And this equipment you can turn on and off in 1 second. What you see there is a unit that makes 100 kilograms a day of hydrogen. That's enough for 100 vehicles. What you also see is 2.5 days of energy storage. And the thing about hydrogen is it separates power from energy. So if you want to store that energy for longer periods of time, you just make the tanks bigger. We produce what we call a 000 fuel. That's a fuel that has no carbon in its production, if it's made from renewable power. It's made on site, and so there's no carbon footprint in its transportation. And hydrogen vehicles, like the ones you'll see outside today, have absolutely zero emissions. And also, a key observation is that you can make hydrogen using renewable power for a lower cost than petrol. £5 per kilogram for hydrogen means you have a zero carbon footprint fuel that's lower cost than petrol if you use it in a fuel cell vehicle. So let me tell you about some projects going on in the UK. Initiated a number of months ago at UK H2 Mobility. I think a breakthrough in a number of senses. It's a project to plan an infrastructure of hydrogen for the UK and brings together car companies and gas companies and the UK government. And in fact, DEC, BIS and the Department of Transport all signed an MOU with those industrial companies. So it's a big breakthrough. We have now mobility projects in Germany, in the US, in Japan, and in Scandinavia. And actually the UK can be an early follower of the German example. And the Germans are spending billions on hydrogen infrastructure right now. Eco Island, if H2 Mobility is a top-down project, Eco Island is a bottom-up project. This is the Isle of Wight getting together, the businesses and the community in the Isle of Wight, to plant up with renewable power and to become a net exporter of power. And we work with Scottish and Southern, Toshiba, IBM, Cable and Wireless on a smart grid energy storage system. That is, using a smart grid to control electrolysis, to store renewable power and deploy it as a transport fuel. And vehicles are being supplied by Toyota and Hyundai. So what about hydrogen in Scotland? Well, actually, I think Scotland is uniquely placed to exploit the benefits of hydrogen. With its very rich wind resource, its increasing need for energy storage, and also its experience with fuel. Whenever you do these things, you need a critical mass project. And I think an excellent project being developed is the Energetica project, and the bus project in Aberdeen, and the route between Aberdeen and Peterhead. And I hope this finds full funding, because actually that forms a critical mass in Scotland, which we can develop other projects around. And actually that critical mass can be an embryonic industry. Another interesting project is Hydrogen Hebrides. This is interesting for me because it's about community-owned renewables and adding value to community-owned renewables. And we've heard the word localisation used a number of times today, but community ownership and adding value to community activities is very important. This project is a network of hydrogen refuelling stations from Lewis to Barra, and the use of hydrogen ferries. So let me finish by telling you what I see as the market dynamics for the adoption of hydrogen. The end of cheap oil has come. And if you read The Economist and National Geographic on the end of the oil age, oil just becomes more and more difficult. Actually, at the same time, nations all over the world are planting up with renewable power, which needs energy storage. And what you can do is store that power using hydrogen. And that is a new fuel to replace oil and gas. At the same time, we see sales of electric vehicles stalling. Problem with electric vehicles, two problems. One is they take too long to charge, and the other one is they don't go far enough. And they're the two problems solved by hydrogen. Actually, hydrogen vehicles are electric vehicles. It's just a way of getting the energy in. And you can put the energy into a hydrogen vehicle in 3 minutes, and they go 400 miles. So I think all the arrows are in the right direction. So perhaps I can finish with my first slide, where I started, to say that this is a huge opportunity for the UK, which we should embrace. I'd like to finish by saying we're in the ride and drive today. We are actually making hydrogen here on site using the water and the power from the show, and you can drive Hyundai fuel cell vehicles. And I would encourage you to do that, so that if anybody says to you, well, hydrogen vehicles are 5 years away, you can say, well, they're not actually. I drove one yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Graham. All that remains for me to ask you to join me in thanking our speakers.